Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.Eliances.com.
That's right. And welcome back to. Thank you so much for the feedback we continue to have on when I had and interviewed the co-founder of Zillow.com and also the founder of eNetwork. That's right, the eNetwork. So make sure that you go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com, because as you know, it is the only place where entrepreneurs align. Now, many of you listening and watching now may be getting hungry, because I am definitely getting hungry now. Well, guess what? You're going to be more hungry by the time this interview is over. That's right. Why? Because we have with us Matt Jordan. All right. He is not one, not five, 8-time competition show veteran, Food Network, guys, grocery games, Food Network star, favorites, and Cutthroat Kitchen, national chef, and if that wasn't enough, multi-million-dollar sales leader for the world's largest food and beverage company. You could reach him by going to mattjordantv.com. And again, you'll see the link. You can go to Eliances.com and be able to find it and click to the link to reach him directly. All right, Matt, boy, you've done so much. I got to get right into it and stuff. Talk to us about 8-time competition show veteran of the Food Network. Like, how do you even become one, let alone 8?
Yeah, thanks for having me, David. And hey to everybody out there. So Food Network has been extremely generous to me over the years. And it really started when I was 9 years old here locally in Arizona. I did all of the local TV segments at all of the local stations. And fast forward to when I was in culinary school, I acted as my own agent and would call up the Food Network, do my research, ask the assistants to transfer me to so-and-so executive, and I would leave and pitch voicemails where I would, share who I was, potential show concepts. In addition, at culinary school, I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, and up on the 3rd floor level, we had a food safety teacher that used to be a food stylist at the network. So I would march up to her desk, uninvited, the poor lady, here comes this 18-year-old kid just approaching her desk. But I had a reel of all of my video segments, and I was able to pitch myself to her and one other faculty member that knew people at the Food Network, and they were able to connect me. As one of my good friends says, to make a long story long, after culinary school, the then GM of the Food Network called me and asked me to do Cutthroat Kitchen. And that was really my big break. I was probably 19, 20 years old. And from there, the Food Network just kept having me back over the years.
Talk to us about what it's like, though, being on TV, like the pressure of that and the bright lights, like even the lights affecting food. I don't know. I'm certainly not a chef, but it just seems like everything and the pressure of that. How do you handle that internally of, okay, I've only got this period of time. We're going to be doing this,
right,
this, and this to make it happen and produce something that's going to taste phenomenal?
Yeah, absolutely. And not to make a food pun, but it really is a pressure cooker. And I had intense training. I had my first restaurant job when I was 16. So I've been working in really high intensity professional kitchens my entire life. I'm now 29. I'll be 30 this year. And in addition, doing the live segments on, Arizona Midday and, 12 News and all of the local stations here, it gave me good practice. But when you fly to Hollywood and you're on a studio lot and you're filming a show, it's another level of intense. But it was so exciting. I had the training wheels to get there. And when you're thrown into the boiling water of a high, intensity, really high dollar amount production, it's a sink or swim sort of situation. The time clocks are real. You really have to trust your laurels. There's no preparing for it. You've done all the preparing, in your professional career and working. And when you're in that moment, it's almost like your brain shuts off and you have to go by pure intuition.
Does it get any easier by the time you're at your 5th one? You kind of get acclimated to what's going to happen?
Absolutely. You really get used to the format of hearing what the challenge is, and then just cooking. What I really recommend, to anybody that is, competing is really develop your clear point of view style and trust yourself. When you're in the moment making decisions, you have a clock that's running at either 25, 30 minutes. At the end of that 30 minutes, you're going to be serving food to the judges. You need to be cooking food immediately. You need to get stuff on the grill immediately. And so there's really no time for planning. Where I really shift to is, what am I craving? And that is generally what I cook. To answer your question, though, yes, it absolutely does get easier. By the time I did the fifth or sixth show with the Food Network, you get used to being on that big studio lot set, and it just begins to feel like home.
How did you know that you were good at what you were doing in regards to the cooking aspect of it? Because, listen, there's a lot of people who think they're good chefs, but they're the only ones that eat the food that they make.
David.
Right? You're like, this tastes good to me. I don't know.
Yeah. You know what it comes down to? Does the food sell? I think that's what it's about. And whether it's selling in a restaurant or in mass manufacturing or in being invited back to the Food Network, if you're looking at it from a digital standpoint, are people commenting on your posts, downloading your recipes? Really, it comes down to sales. Television is still a business. Talent on TV, it is, they're there to make the business money. And so it's really a measurable thing, is, are people seeking you for your food?
And man, I think you nailed it, because you're right. The cooking aspect is one part of it, but then it's keeping people engaged.
Yes.
Not at like Guy, right? For example, I mean, right, bringing that, and like you have, bringing that out. But, while you're cooking, how do you have both minds on both things of that? Like, I got to keep people engaged. I got to make sure that I'm cooking. I got to make sure it's the right temperature, ingredients, and everything happening at once in a short period of time, and all these people and cameras on me.
Yeah, it's really hard, David. But I think it's just one of those things where some people are really good at being a doctor. Some people are really good at, spreadsheets and working in supply chain. And I think this is just one of those things that you have a natural tendency for. I'm really able to sort of shut off my brain, listen to what producers are saying, think about the challenge, but then also be going through the minutia of, practical skill when it comes to cooking. And where I think a lot of that derives from is working in high intensity kitchens and working on the hotline. You come in at, 2:00, let's say you're working dinner service. It's a Friday or Saturday night. You've got 300 on the books. I worked in restaurants where they were like $50, $60, $70 plates, really high end food, with elite staff and a lot of pressure and extremely intense. And so I think that is the training that is necessary in order to thrive in the camera, film, part of it, because you're right. It's also entertainment. TV is entertainment first, and then it's the food. No one's going to end up tasting your food because it's on TV. They're going to make it in their home. So I think being able to rest on your skill and your laurels of, I know my food, I'm confident in my food, and then just being able to be yourself. That's really the recipe for success.
Excellent. Again, and this show is successful because I have the opportunity to meet incredible people like you, Matt, on the Eliances Hero Show. So make sure that you go to Eliances.com. That's ELIANCS.com. Why? The only place where entrepreneurs align, because we have with us Matt Jordan, 8-time competition show veteran, Food Network. You can reach him at mattjordantv.com, mattjordantv.com. Matt, what are they going to find when they go to your website, mattjordantv.com?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, David, for plugging that. You're going to see a quick bio about myself, some representation of the food that I like to cook, and then a contact form. I'm always open to opportunities. My goals and ambitions are still to, have a cookbook, have a television show, the whole shebang, a restaurant chain in my name, a restaurant group. And so my website is really a professional profile where other professionals and or fans can reach me.
Absolutely. That's incredible. And again, Matt, Just do you ever like what goes through your mind when you have watched yourself on TV? Like, is it where it's a critique or it's like what goes through your mind when someone sees you when you see yourself on TV?
Yeah, David, I'm extremely critical of myself. I really use it to study, whether that be changing mannerisms or things I say, recipes I cook. It's almost like a football player watching themselves play. I really use it to study. That being said, I'm not like, watching them all the time. It's usually when they're first airing, but I am the critical type when I see myself on TV.
Matt, if you had one goal of also what you want to do now, one goal, what would that be?
Talk show. I would love to be a talk show host.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, you have the personality for it. You have the looks for it.
Yeah,
so you might as
well be. Thanks, pal. I appreciate it.
You do. So we got time for, one more question. I think this is important because you mentioned at the age of 16, how you really got involved in the food industry.
Yes.
What kind of secrets can you share for others that, maybe beyond the age of 16, but they don't know what they want to do? Like, how do you find it? What is it? And how did you know at the point, hey, this is really what I want to do. This is my passion. Matt, help us share the secrets of how others can find their passion for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of things that go into it, but I think that being able to stick with what you love through the hard times and when you're not making a ton of money, being able to see past the horizon of that, knowing that bigger things are coming are really essential to becoming successful. Straight out of school, especially culinary school, if you're not right off the bat making 100K plus, that's okay. Cut your teeth on a hotline, make $12 to $15 an hour, work at really great places. It's going to be extremely challenging. From age 16 to 24, I was making, barely above minimum wage, knowing that greater things were coming for me. And this was all in tandem with, everything with Food Network, the List TV show, Young Hollywood. And then I really got a big break in the corporate world, working as a national executive chef in a really heavy chef operations, marketing, sales role. And so being able to lay the foundation to build your skill is critical. And even if it is, painful, it's necessary.
Excellent. Well, that's right. Stick with what you love. That's what we're doing here. And that's what Matt's doing. Matt Jordan, 8-time competition show veteran, Food Network guys, Food Network star, the list goes on. Make sure you reach out to him, mattjordantv.com. This has been David Cogan with the Eliances Hero Show. But Matt, you got to dance with me now too. There you go.
There we go.
I love it. You're hired. I love it.